Hello, it's LaShawn from Rooted and Reckless, and today I'm going to give you a 1-month update on our plants from Ecuador. So let's get into it. So first I'm going to start with our friend, the one that we've been pouring extra TLC into, our Monstera Adansonii. As you know, I received 2 of these and one was just never in the greatest condition, or at least it wasn't in as good a condition as the second one that I received. And so when I gave the update 2 weeks ago, I said that the color still wasn't great, and that it just really wasn't showing a lot of improvement. It was pretty much, the same or slightly worse than it was before. Well, the other day I decided that I needed to do a root check. So I unpotted it. I took a look at the roots and I noticed that the stem was really yellow and the roots were browning and hadn't really done any growth. It was just not looking great at all. So I did a rinse. Well, first of all, I pruned back all of the yellow stem. I basically went up to the first node all the way right before these leaves, and I pruned all of the roots, and I soaked it in some root stimulating hormone for a little bit, and then I repotted it in a perlite and vermiculite mix, and I put it in this propagation ball. I've had success with this in the past, and so I thought this may be helpful to use this ball, because again, it's very aerated, but it keeps in the moisture for long periods of time, and this will remain in the greenhouse. I have seen plants come back from this state before, so I'm still hopeful that it will make a full recovery, but we'll see. We'll check back in 2 weeks. Just a little note about the leaves. This leaf is starting to turn a little bit yellow, and so I'll continue to monitor that. If it goes more than 50% yellow, then I will likely prune it off. The other leaves still, again, green, but they have that pale look to them. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks or so, and then we'll go from there. Now let's turn to its partner in crime, our other Monstera Adansonii. Again, this one arrived in a lot better shape than its sister plant. And even last week it was showing a lot better color, and this week it continues to add on to that progress, starting with the immersion of a new leaf. Yes, it's about 1 inch in length, or maybe 1.5 inches in length. It looks really good, and I cannot wait to see what the unfurled leaf looks like. It is also showing some roots around the edge of the pot, as well as coming through the bottom of the pot. So in addition to the color looking even better, it is showing other signs that it is transitioning, and it is starting to make its own path by pushing out new leaves and pushing out new roots. And so I'm excited to see what will happen over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to continue to keep this in the greenhouse at least until the other leaf unfurls, and then we'll make a decision about whether or not we can bring it fully out of the greenhouse and in its permanent location. So let's talk about another plant that is doing really well, and that's our Syngonium Confetti. So 2 weeks ago, I did tell you that this plant had a leaf that was unfurled, and this plant 2 weeks now, today, I am telling you that the leaf has completely unfurled. It has beautiful confetti coloring. That pink is so bright and beautiful on it. It also has a new little growth that is coming right out of the soil, and it's a little teeny leaf on it, so we'll see what continues to happen with that as well. It is also showing quite a bit of rooting coming out of the bottom of the pot and some around the edges of the pot as well. Again, all signs that this is fully transitioned and is well on its way. I am going to keep it in the greenhouse a little bit longer, again, just to see what happens with this root down here, but also because we need to figure out what we are going to do with this particular stem. It's always drooped a little bit, so that's not new, but the color is starting to fade. I did assist it a little bit with separating this new growth from this main stem. I want to see, is that going to unfurl, or what is going to happen. If this big leaf ultimately dies off and this doesn't unfurl, I will likely just unpot this particular stem altogether. If you remember, this was 3 separate stems that were potted all in one. So I could definitely remove this and it's not going to have any impact on the other leaves. And so that is something that I'm prepared to do, but we're going to give it another couple weeks just to see if it does make any turnaround altogether. I will also probably give this one some fertilizer on its next watering, maybe at half strength, just because again, it's got roots, it's got new leaves coming up, and now it's time to give it a little reward and feed it a little bit. So I'm excited about that. Now let's move on to our King Veitchii, one of my favorites. I've always been so excited about this plant. I love the leaves, but it is about status quo. The leaves still look amazing. The color is good. The size is about the same. They don't look like they've enlarged any at all. And it's not put out any new growth. I did decide to give it a half strength fertilizer in its last watering, just to see, does that help? Will that stimulate it? Will it give it the little boost that it needs in order to start pushing out some new growth or pushing out some new roots? It does not have any new roots that are coming around the edge of the pot or at the bottom of the pot. You know, just as a recap, it did have well established roots. I'm continuing to water it regularly. It does have this chunky soil mix that is there. And so it's not showing any signs of distress. So I'm not, you know, largely worried that it hasn't pushed out any new growth at this point. It just may be taking a little bit of time, and that's okay. And lastly, we're going to talk about our Choco Red, which is almost in the same state as our King Veitchii. It's status quo. The leaves that it has, the 3 remaining leaves, these are the same 3 that were there 2 weeks ago when we gave the update. They're in the same condition that they were when we gave the update. They don't look bad at all. It has not pushed out any new growth, although it has a little bit of green pushing out of this sheath. It's just like really peeking out, and that's the way that it was about 2 weeks ago. So it hasn't shown anything different from there. There are no new roots around the edge of the pot, nor coming from the bottom of the pot. So we'll just continue to monitor. I haven't given this one anything other than yucca, so I'll also make a determination over the next week or so whether or not I'll give it a little bit of fertilizer in its next watering to see if that helps a little bit. But again, it's only been a month. I'm not surprised at all that it hasn't pushed out anything new. And we'll just continue to monitor all of the plants and see, you know, will our Adansonii start to show some signs of life? Will any of our plants be moved from the greenhouse into their permanent location? I want you to come back in 2 weeks so we can all find out what happens and how our plants from Ecuador progress. So stay tuned.